Hi everyone, this is Daryl and welcome back to Book Odyssey. Today I'm going to be looking at 5 more must-read science fiction classics. This video follows on from my first 2 classic sci-fi must-read lists, so if you haven't watched those I'll leave a link to them here. So let's just jump straight into my first book that I have for you, which is The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula Le Guin. The Lathe of Heaven is a 1971 science fiction novel by American writer Ursula Le Guin. The story follows George Orr, a man whose dreams can change the past and present reality. In a future world racked by violence and environmental catastrophes, Orr wakes up one day to discover that his dreams have the ability to alter reality. He seeks help from Dr. William Harbour, a psychiatrist who immediately grasps the power George wields. Soon George must preserve reality itself as Dr. Harbour becomes adept at manipulating George's dreams for his own purpose. The novel received nominations for the 1972 Hugo and 1971 Nebula Awards, and won the Locus Award for Best Novel in 1972. The Lathe of Heaven is not only a fantastic work of sci-fi from the late great Ursula Le Guin, but it's also a psychological thriller that tackles a number of big themes, such as the dangers of becoming a god. But irrespective of the themes, it's a page-turner full of twists and turns, which makes it a must-read. The next book I have is The City and the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke. The City and the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke was published in 1956 and is considered one of his finest novels, depicting a humanity billions of years into the future. Men had built cities before, but never such a city as Diaspar. For millennia, its protective dome shut out the creeping decay and danger of the world outside. Earth has grown so old that the oceans have disappeared and humanity itself has all but left. As far as the people of Diaspar know, theirs is the only city left on the planet. However, once the people of Earth held powers to reach the stars, then, as legend has it, the invaders came, driving humanity into the last refuge of the city. It takes one man, a unique named Alvin, to break through Diaspar's stifling inertia, to smash the legend and discover the true nature of the invaders. For me, one of the most compelling parts of this book is just how far into the future it's set, and how much history, discovery and relapse sits between our time and then, so that the humanity we witness is completely unlike our own. There are some fantastic concepts within the book, which more than make up for the typical lack of character development we see from a lot of classic sci-fi. The sheer breadth of this story makes it a must-read. Next up is I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. I Am Legend is a 1954 post-apocalyptic horror sci-fi novel by American writer Richard Matheson. The story features Robert Neville, the sole survivor of a pandemic that has killed most of the human population and turned the remainder into vampire creatures. The story follows Neville's life in the months and eventually years following the outbreak, as he attempts to comprehend, research and possibly cure the disease. Swarms of vampires surround his house nightly and try to find ways to get inside. Neville survives only by barricading himself inside his house every night. Weekly dust storms ravage the city, and during the day, when the vampires are inactive, Neville drives around to search them out and kill them, and to scavenge for supplies. In 2012, the Horror Writers Association gave I Am Legend the Special Vampire Novel of the Century Award. I Am Legend is a must-read classic for a number of reasons. Not only is it a great read that bridges the genres of horror and sci-fi, but it's also been wildly influential in the modern zombie and vampire literature, as well as popularising the concept of worldwide apocalypse due to disease. The novel has been adapted into the films The Last Man on Earth in 1964, The Omega Man in 1971, and in 2007 I Am Legend, starring Will Smith. It was also an inspiration for George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead in 1968. At number 4 on my must-read sci-fi classics list is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Seconds before the Earth is demolished to make way for a galactic freeway, Arthur Dent is plucked off the planet by his friend Ford Prefect, a researcher for the revised edition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, who for the last 15 years has been posing as an out-of-work actor. Together, this dynamic pair begin a journey through space, aided by quotes from the Hitchhiker's Guide and a galaxy full of fellow travellers. While roaming outer space, he comes to learn the truth behind Earth's existence. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy rests on three things for me. We've got the narrative style, we've got the humour, and we've got the concepts. Douglas Adams has one of the most distinctive voices that I've ever read from a science fiction author, so much so that a lot of the story hangs in the narrative. A standout character in this book was the depressed android named Marvin, making it a classic must-read. The novel is an adaptation of the first 4 parts of Adams' radio series of the same name, and the book sold 250,000 copies in the first 3 months of being published in 1979. The last book I have on my list is A Scanner Darkly by Philip K. Dick. A Scanner Darkly, published in 1977, is set in a future America that has lost the war on drugs. Substance D is not known as death for nothing. It is the most toxic drug ever to find its way onto the streets of LA. It destroys the link between the brain's 2 hemispheres, causing disorientation, then complete irreversible brain damage. The story follows Bob Arctor, a narcotics agent living undercover as a member of a household full of drug users. His is a life of secrecy. He does not reveal his true identity to his housemates, nor does he reveal who he is to the police. They know him only as Fred. But Bob is also addicted to Substance D, and when he's pulled in by his superiors for routine questioning, they discover that his brain has started to fire in different directions at the same time, causing him to begin to think of himself simultaneously as 2 separate people, Bob the Substance D addict and Fred the narcotics agent. But which is his true self? One, none, or both? A Scanner Darkly is dark and unfiltered, and like many Philip K. Dick books, plays with a sense of paranoia. The themes of identity and dual personality have you questioning reality from the very beginning. Not only the reality in the book, but the reality of our own lives, making it a must-read classic. So that's it for this list. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love to hear about your own must-read classic sci-fi books in the comments, so don't forget to let me know. Until next time guys, happy reading.